I mean, who do you think will be at Liverpool of the 6 starting the season?
I think we have to say it's very, very likely that Nunez leaves.
Yeah, let's put him down here.
I think you've just got to sort of end up that's where everyone's sort of settled, that it's what's in everyone's interests ultimately. I think you see that by virtue of the fact that they don't start him as soon as they're at the point where they'd have to pay the additional money. That doesn't say to me that they think that there's a future there.
Yeah, they're not just delaying the payment for 4 months, like me with my washing machine.
Yeah, no, they're not doing that. No, they're not doing that. If they thought that there was genuinely a thing, they'd say, well, let's just play him and go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that maybe that's been a bit overstated, and that what it might be is they think that there's a fair chance, I think there's a 9 out of 10 chance he's going, if not higher. It might that they think there's a 7 out of 10 chance that he's going, but why even do it then? If you see what I mean, at the end of the season, if you don't have to. But I think there's other selection points. We said before he could have played against PSG as far as we know on clauses, and he doesn't pick him, he picks Jota instead to start in both of those games. I feel a little bit like Darwin's race is run for Liverpool. Thank you very much for the odd number of memories. And good luck to him, genuinely good luck to him. I think he needs to go. I think the other thing is, you end up understanding maybe a little bit about how teams attack and how attacks function. And I just think it's very, very difficult to have 2 main men. You'd have one, and for us it's Mo Salah. I think that we hope with Wirtz deeper, you're able to have 2. But it is almost very much one plays in a different midfield line, or if he plays as false 9, well then a lot of that is about serving Salah. That's how that operates. You can't, I don't think, have a number 9 who's pure number 9. I actually think there's loads of bits of Nunez's Liverpool career where his eagerness to serve others is actually in a couple of ways being a bit of undoing. But I think that's shown he is a team player, but I think he would be better off being a team player at a place where he's the main man, if that makes sense. And I think he can go and do that somewhere and do really, really well. I think it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if in 2 seasons' time there's some people saying, have you seen the goals Nunez has scored since he's left us?
Yeah.
And it is a startling number, but that's fine. I think he goes, and I think we move on. What I'm struck by when I look at the way in which this currently lines up is just whether or not what Liverpool will look to want to have is a ton of flexibility in the positions that aren't Mo Salah's. That they might want options to play is what we can call number 10, where Wirtz has been on the previous one. That they might want interchange in between left and centre in there. Because I think, I just keep coming back to, if they can't get a number 9 that they really like, there's a very, very strong argument they buy all the footballers that they really like and continue to make it work. And also, if we look at the side that's just won the European Cup, they ended up playing what you would have said at the start of the season was a winger.
Well, Man City did the whole season without a number 9, where they were waiting for Haaland, and they were brilliant.
Yeah, and I think you can imagine there being a period where if Liverpool can't get the one that they really, really want, I don't think they'll be that interested in compromising. I think they might end up in a situation where they have Jota as second choice option from the bench, certain games, and bring someone in. But even if I think they got an offer that they liked for Jota, and they'd let Nunez go, and they didn't have anyone absolutely guaranteed who's going to wear a big number 9 on his back play for Liverpool, all that sort of stuff, I think, but there were other players that they liked, I think that they might still move and do something that feels a little bit unlikely. And I can sort of get into that. I like a number 9, I really do. I think a football team works better when it works that way. But I just think that the way the thing that Slot does from the minute he gets in is he builds the whole of Liverpool's attack around Salah. In a way that even I don't think there's even a single season where Klopp does the same thing.
Yeah.
21-22, it ends up being built a little bit around Mane through the middle as the season wears on. First half of the season, a lot of it's through Jota through the middle. Jota, I think the reason why we have a title challenge in 21-22 is Jota. I think it's forgotten what he does between August and February. I think he carries that attack on his back.
Especially January and February, yeah, he's just unbelievable.
And then he gets an injury, and then Mane comes in and plays there. Diaz, we buy him in the January, and he goes left-hand side. I think there's I don't think, even the 44-goal season with Salah, it's still so much of it's about what Firmino does, so much of it's about where Mane is as well, and Salah's just banging them in around all of that at the same time. It didn't feel, and maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but it didn't feel as tactically focused. Slot's Liverpool feels so tactically focused on Salah, and that's what I keep coming back to. So if that means that you want to get someone who plays through the middle of the pitch, who serves that idea, then I think Liverpool might do that again. I think Salah might move a little bit more. I think that maybe teams were getting a bit wise to it by the end of the campaign and having a better idea of how to stop Salah. But I think that one of the reasons why it's so difficult to stop Salah is that it isn't just about whether or not he sticks it into the back of the net. It's the goals and the assists. It's the fact that he gives you both. So it's not just stop the shot, you've also got to stop the pass. And it's not just stop the pass and the shot, you've got to stop the cross. And then when you begin to sort of get to that point, how many men do you want to put around him? Because now we can just lay it back to McAllister, and McAllister can pass to somebody else. and you know, that's where you can end up. So I wonder if that will continue for one more year. And the other thing that makes me think all of that is they gave him all the money. Gave him all the money. If you don't give him all the money, if you don't think he's going to continue to get, if you're not going to build it around, if you're not think he's going to get the output and you're going to continue to build it around him. So maybe they do end up doing something at number 9 through the centre of the pitch that isn't you know, Isak or someone who looks like Isak but 10% less good. I think they'd do Isak if they could, but I think they might not want to do Isak minus 10%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think, you know, you're looking at it now and thinking, well, there are sort of other options you can play there. So he's shown he can play Diaz there, and he's willing to do it. There is Jota as well. We talked in the midfielders one about the idea of doing Szoboszlai there. So, and then he's not showed a massive willingness to do Chiesa there, but, you know, he brings him on a fan and he scores there. And so there is enough there, you feel, with him going, actually, I can sort of make this work for another year. But
I think they invest in one. I think that this is the big thing. I think they invest in one. And
but it's a similar sort of player.
But it might be a similar player who you might look at and go, well, I think he might be a left winger, or might even be a right winger, but he's going to play, you know, at his previous club. But for Liverpool, he's going to come in and he's going to play through the centre of the pitch, and that's how it's going to operate. So I'll be stunned if they don't buy one more forward, and not just off the two players per position. I even think that there's still a fighting chance that they might end up buying 2 more forwards, especially if Jota leaves.
Yeah.